All right. Well, we are fortunate today to have somebody special. The Irishman speaks, Mr. Conor Cunneen. Conor, welcome to the program.
Hey, Dean, thanks for having me here. I was just out walking the land and I see this camera in front of me. Amazing, isn't
Who
it?
would have thought out here
Yeah,
in the middle of the country you'd run into a camera just wandering around the road?
absolutely, yeah, yeah. I actually tell people that this is the back road from Naperville down to Chicago. I mean, Illinois is such a bankrupt state. This is the quality of the roads we've got now.
It makes it a problem when we get some big snows to have those walls next to the road, but we
You're
deal
right,
with it.
my brother. Yeah, indeed.
Well, Conor, people have probably figured out that you're not a Chicago native. Tell us about Conor Cunneen.
Right, Conor Cunneen is Irishman Speaks. That's what the brand is. And my mission, Dean, is to improve people, performance, and productivity with a smile. So that's kind of a mission that really resonates with almost any organization and any group of people because they want to improve their people, their performance, and their productivity. And if we can do it with a smile, it is a combination that is very successful and has allowed me to continue to walk this road for quite some time.
So tell us about the people that you deliver that message to. Who's your audience?
Right. The audience is very, very diverse. I mean, I'm sure as you're doing these programs, you'll get ideas from speakers as to whether or not they should just go after niches or whether they should be generalists and go after broader markets. And what I do is I go after broader markets. So, for instance, events now that I've booked that are upcoming over the next couple of weeks, I speak a lot to healthcare groups and oncology groups. And what oncology groups, especially survivorship groups. I'm a cancer survivor, two-time cancer survivor. What survivorship groups are looking for humorous, motivational material. And sometimes when you say to people that, well, I speak to oncology groups and I'm a humorous, motivational speaker to them, people kind of say, huh? For oncology groups? But what they're actually looking for is a kind of a lift and a buzz and make them feel better and appreciate their survival journey. But then on the other hand, I could be speaking to I'm speaking to a large group of financial investors. In a couple of months' time, I've got that gig, and I'm just back from Banff, where I spoke to financial investors, a large Canadian group called Advocates. And what they're looking for is they're looking for ways to improve their connection with people. Because if you can improve your connection with people in the financial services industry, you're going to generate more production. That's what they use for sales. That's the term that they use. So basically, I provide them with some good concepts based around my core keynote, Dean, is the gift of GAB. And GAB is an acronym for goals, attitude, behavior. Goals, attitude, behavior. And it's a concept that allows me to customize it to any group, be it financial services, be it safety conferences, manufacturing, food service, financial services, and things like that.
Well, you used a phrase in there that stood out to me, and that is what they're looking for. And
Yeah.
so it sounds like you're really aiming at what your client has as their picture of success rather than you saying, here's my message and take it or leave it, and this is what I'm going to do. Give us some perspective if I'm newer to the speaker world, or even if I'm somebody who hires speakers. Expand, if you would, a little bit on that concept of what they're looking for.
Right. I think the last thing you want is to provide a canned speech. The first time I ever really appreciated, Dean, how impactful or how lucrative professional speaking could be. I'm not saying it is all the time. Was when I was over here. I came over originally with a company called Best Foods, Hellman's Mayonnaise, Best Foods Mayonnaise, etc. We were taken over by Unilever, and the first thing Unilever did is we'll have a big conference and we'll bring in Mary Lou Retton, the gymnast, Olympic gymnast. Okay, Mary Lou comes in and she gives her canned speech about how I won the gold and how you too can win the gold. All of you people in Unilever, yay! And that was about the only way that she customized the speech. The following week, she might have been speaking to PepsiCo, and she would have said, "All of you people in PepsiCo." Isn't it? That's right. Yeah, PepsiCo, isn't it? It's not. You're not Coca-Cola. No, you're PepsiCo. Now, I don't mean to slam her, but I mean she made a very lucrative business out of that. And I remember at that stage, hold your breath. This would have been 2002 or 2003. She was getting 25K for giving us a canned speech. But I can't give a canned speech. You can't give a canned speech. So what I do is I have a good session with the event planner or the person who's bringing me in, understanding their needs, I ask them what are their challenges, what are their pain points, what is the mood of the audience likely to be. I will connect with them a day or two before the event as well to say, run over some of these points that we had spoken about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. Has anything changed? So that's one of the ways that I do it. The other way that I do it, especially if it's an industry that I don't know, and there's a lot of industries I don't know, obviously, is I will go onto websites related to those industries and do some research on them. But I think the best way to get a feel for the people in an industry, Dean, is find blogs about the industry. And I don't worry too much about the content of the blog that's written by the blogger. What I look at is the blog comments. And what you've got there is that you've got the blogger giving one perspective, but for a successful blog, you could have 200, 300, 400 different kind of comments. And that helps you to get a good feel for the mood, the challenges, the issues that people on the shop floor or on the front lines really are facing.
Well, that's some great insights of tools that can help us to really dial into those different industries. And what I'm hearing is you brought up the concept early on about niche. So if I'm a newer speaker or even an established speaker, we're always getting given these message of, riches are in the niches and you've got to specialize. And it sounds like what you've done is rather than specializing in an industry, you've specialized in a message or in a problem that can fit into many industries. Is that right?
That's basically it, yeah, because everyone wants to improve their people performance and productivity. I can adapt. I know I do quite a few other different programs as well. One of them is adding humor to your presentation, for instance. But within my core concept of the gift of gab, goals, attitudes, behavior, I do have a lot of humor in there, relevant humor, but I can adapt that goals and attitudes and behavior to every single industry. And I talk about the behavior that a financial analyst might actually have to have compared to the behavior that a nurse in an oncology ward might have to have. They've all got to do their job well, going with the right attitude, etc. But there are nuances that you can direct towards each relevant audience.
So feedback is really important for us as speakers. What kind of feedback are you hoping to hear from? I guess I think about two different audiences. One is the organizer that brought you in, and the
Yeah.
other is the audience. What are you hoping to hear from those perspectives that tell you you're on target?
Right. From the event planner, I want to hear, Conor, we'll have you back next year. And we've got 5 other clients that want to hear your message. And there's 10 other associated industries that we can also deal with. That's what I want to hear from the event planner. From the audience itself, it's basically the message was relevant. I can use some of these tips or tricks or techniques when I go back to the office tomorrow or on Monday or Tuesday, etc. Um, what he spoke about will help me to work better with my colleagues, and I'm leaving with a smile on my face. Those are the kind of things. But I mean, one of the things that intrigues me, Dean, is I've seen some speakers say that they don't pay any attention to evaluations. I don't need to read the evaluations. That's the kind of pompous rubbish they come out with. Okay, I find that just astonishing. I look a lot at evaluations, and thankfully, I get good evaluations. But the point about evaluations is one is to all right, make you feel good. All right, but you also need to get coaching. You need to kind of get feedback. And a third thing about evaluations, I think people don't pay enough attention to. Quite a bit of the content or the focus that I have in some of my presentations now has come about because Mary Lou or Billy Bob wrote in their evaluation, really enjoyed the presentation, but I wish he had spent more time on speaking about attitude and dealing with difficult people, for instance. So I think that's a core reason why you should really study these evaluations. You will not only get evaluation about your most recent presentation, but you'll also probably get good ideas as to how to enhance it or just redirect it a little bit differently.
Well, it sounds like it's a challenge to us to make sure if we have an opportunity to have an impact on how the evaluation is worded, or if it's our evaluation, we're using maybe our own type of a tool, seeking out, what's something that the presentation could have gone deeper into or touched on to make it more valuable for you. So pulling that out of them can help us craft a stronger presentation in the future.
Absolutely. And one of the advantages of working with associations, because all of these are, almost all of them are doing continuing ed programs as well. And your program, to get into association markets, you need to be able to show that this can be credited for continuing education. Almost all of those associations will do evaluation forms. And you can, if you're speaking to an audience of 500 people, you'll get 395 separate comments kind of thing back. That is absolutely invaluable.
Excellent. Now, so I want to change our trajectory slightly here, and that is,
You want me to
my
be
name is that's right. Well, my name is Dean. Conor is also a dean, and he's a dean of something that's very special and important, and that is the NSA Illinois Speakers Academy. And I hold it in very high regard, not only because it's a program that we have, but it's a program that had a huge positive impact on me personally and my career. I was a part of the 2018-2019 cohort. Conor was one of the deans. And I guess I'd love to hear from your perspective, Conor. You see hundreds, over your career of aspiring or even established speakers go through this program. And what are some of the insights that, if I'm maybe an aspiring speaker or a speaker we're working to, up my game, and I'm watching this, what are some of the patterns you see, and what are some of the things that you, if you were going to tweet to the world, lessons of Conor after hundreds of people going through Speaker Academy, what are some of the things that you'd want people to know from your perspective?
Well, the major tweet, I'm intrigued about this, by the way. Are we going to be Xing to the world shortly? I don't know.
But anyway, it's not as catchy. It's
not as catchy at all. No. So the X or the tweet would be, a lot of very good speakers go bankrupt. And a lot of very bad speakers make a lot of money. Right? So what I'm saying there is that the business of speaking is absolutely critical. It's not just enough to be a good communicator. You need to be able to manage your business. You need to be able to market yourself. So for instance, my brand is Irishman Speaks, and there's not anyone else who'll be able to go with that title, I would think. I have a clear brand promise, which is I refer to as E4. I've got the mission to improve people, performance, and productivity with a smile. I think speakers need to have a clear idea what their mission is. My brand promise is E4, which stands for energize, educate, entertain, and easy to work with. And I'll ask you the question there. When I mentioned that to event planners, energize, educate, entertain, and easy to work with, which one do you think they really like to hear about?
The planner likes to know you're easy to work with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. And that's critical as well. You cannot be a prima donna in this industry. And I think that's something that some people who are coming to the industry from having been a successful C-suite executive, etc., where they're used to having people kind of wave to them, yes, boss, etc. Suddenly they're out on their own and they realize, what, you mean you're not paying me due deference, etc.? And I think they do turn off a lot of people. I've heard of various examples of that. But what the Speaker Academy does do, Dean, as you recall, is it helps upcoming speakers, wannabe speakers, and also experienced speakers to better understand the business of speaking, and the business of changing people's lives maybe might even be better, because I mean there's a lot of people in NSA who don't make a lot of money from keynote speeches, but they make it from being on influencers or being on TikTok, YouTube, etc. And what we do with our program is we try to help you to develop a marketing plan to get your message across. Who are you? What are you offering? How do you offer it? And that basically is. And then what we've got, as you know, with the Speaker Academy, is we bring in guest speakers from all over the globe and even beyond, each per week, and they give a different perspective on their business. So we might have someone coming in, Ed Rigsby, who was a guru on associations, spoke about associations to us last time. Terry Brock, who's a guru on technology and the latest bits and pieces that speakers should be using, and AI, etc. He's one of the speakers we're going to have in the next session. So we bring in gurus and they present, and there's Q&A with those gurus as well from the audience, from our students, etc. And I think everyone does feel that they leave with really good insights to help them build their business.
And that's the big deal, and the thing that accelerated my business was it pulls the curtain back, because the speaker business, if you've not been around it much, is kind of opaque, right? You see what's on stage, but you don't see everything that's led up to that or happens after that. So
Yeah.
great look behind the curtain that helps people to get some inspiration of how do I take my business to the next level. And it's not a formula, right? I mean, it's not a I've talked with hundreds of speakers, and I have not found two that have the same business as each other.
Right. Yeah. I agree. I mean, the only thing that's consistent in the speaking business, I say there are three. They say there are two definites in life. I've actually made it three. One is death, two is taxes, and three is speakers lie about their fees. Okay, so but I think one of the advantages of the Speaker Academy is that you really do actually get people being honest about this. But if you go to a lot of the national events, etc., you wouldn't believe the number of people who are successful in the speaking business, and then you go out and you see they're driving away in a 2001 Datsun or something like that. So, but it's a great industry to be in. I never had a more enjoyable job in my life. And coming away from an event when you know you've put a smile on people's face and left them with good messages is just fantastic.
Well, Connor, always insightful and energizing to talk about business and the people that you serve. If people want to learn more about you or stay connected with you, where would you direct them?
I would direct them to I'm on LinkedIn, Conor Cunneen. Conor is spelled with one N. My parents couldn't afford two N's back in Ireland. And the website is Irishman Speaks. And an interesting thing about the website, Dean, is I'm currently revamping it. It's kind of hasn't been revamped in quite some time, but the content is keeps going up there. But one of the things we talk about in Speaker Academy, and one of the ways I get business, is through SEO, search engine optimization. So, for instance, I've done events and that's critical for speakers. We have good SEO. I've done events in Bermuda, Canada. I'm doing an event in Vegas in next March. Came through SEO, etc. And that's the kind of thing that we also speak about in Speaker Academy. But whether you get to Speaker Academy or not, you need to get good at search engine optimization, because a lot of the time event planners or Mary Lou or Billy Bob, who are executive assistants, have been told by the CEO, I need a speaker on leadership. They just key in speaker on leadership, but there's other little hints that they'll pop in, like maybe speaker on leadership Chicago, or speaker on leadership, humorous speaker on leadership Chicago. So that kind of thing is what you need to pay attention to when you are developing your website. So I'm on Twitter, Irishman Speaks, LinkedIn, Irishman Speaks, Facebook, Irishman Speaks, etc.
Excellent. Connor, thank you so much for sharing your insights today, and look forward to you having an awesome year.
Cheers, Dean, and best of luck to you with your role as president. I understand you've got the stretch limousine and the security detail outside the door.
Security detail, that's right.
All right. Take care. Stay well. Cheers. Bye.
See you. Thank you.
Bye.